Ladies and gents, I am just your friendly neighborhood healthcare provider robot, and we are here with Professor Meatball. Let me get him a treat. Yours truly, and the stock market. Take a look at how often we were trying to contest $40. Hold on. There he is. Did you knock over something? It's okay. We're here live from the good old Silicon Valley Bay Area with a Professor Meatball and yours truly. Here you go. Giving AMC a chance to breathe, really come up off of that VWAP here. You might notice the gravelly tone of my voice. Beautiful. Beautiful. Dr. Ian Johnson's healthcare provider. What do you mean, man? It's the Baymax reference. It's the robot from Big Hero 6. Oh, that's good. That's good. What's up, Fo Denuin? What's up, Andrew Guzman, Harry Morgan, Blackberry. We got Roll X Ape. Let's make this gamma squeeze happen, people. Gotta hit $42. Meatball. Just had breakfast. This time to be cool, boy. You and me, we're going. You see how he put his hand on my shoulder? You and me, we're going places, buddy boy. Just you and me. In the very beginning of the market, we were trading in the pre-market down to our critical level of support at $37. When we got down there, we started pushing past 1, 2, and then the third level of resistance. That's 3. That's 1, 2, 3. You see, if I reward him for being for wanting pats, then I pat him, and then he realizes every time I turn around to my computer screen, he's gonna get pats if he does a little groan and a whine. No, just got breakfast. But as a reminder, oh wait, got water. Give him some water first. Here you go, buddy boy. Jimbo Wiggins, where is my Lambo? 2% up on the day. I mean, that's substantial. We are looking at whether or not we can push past that 38.80 level of resistance. We've been rejected once, twice, 3 times. Now coming up on a potential breakout or actually this is a 5th rejection because this counts as one as well. 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th one. All right. It's the Stallion's B-Day today. Italian Stallion. Guys, throw some cakes in the chat for the Italian Stallion. Rocky. Adrian. Adrian. Pennant is looking bearish right now. Let me winks. Let me get to that. Stevie J. Mo Money. Good morning, brother. Granddaddy Funk says, morning, y'all. I just found out you're supposed to put the whole Pez pack with the wrapper into the dispenser. Press down and it auto loads. Come on. That's first grade, SpongeBob. Let's talk about Ortex. Let's talk about Ortex. Let's talk about looks. Let's talk about all of that shenanigan. You did it, Rocky. Giovanni says, did you call me? Heck yeah. Mr. Joe Nada says, I can't wait till this thing squeezes for the names. Anyone else feel the same way? Rocky on a mountain yelling, Kenny, LOL. More water for Meatball. Happy birthday, dude, says Keith DeWitt. Talon Stallion says, thanks for the love. You did it, Rocky. So how long have we spent in this channel? For 38.50 since we contested it in the first 7 minutes of trading, and then the second time, first 30 minutes of trading. After the first 30 minutes of trading, we contested this level of resistance twice, fell through the VWAP, and then came back over, then bounced off of the VWAP, confirming it. So we've confirmed and invalidated a couple of signals. Either way, let's guess. Let's do a guessing game. Which is Lux bullish or bearish right now? Here's how you can play this guessing game, okay? On your phones or on your laptop, go ahead and put your finger on that like button and smash it good. All right, let's count out how many likes we got on our way up, because we're getting more Moon Platoon members in here. You guys are the loyal members of that platoon that I love coming in here right as that stream starts, because you probably have that bell icon turned on, but also because you're just really cool people. All right, let's take a look at Lux. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Strong buy. Strong buy from AMC. Last time we had a sell was midday yesterday around 4:25 Eastern. Right now we're looking at a strong buy from the beginning of the market. And then, oh, this is not Eastern. This is not Eastern. This time is, this is UTC. This is UTC right now. Okay, so we got Lux in the downstairs department here. Bottom left, looking at that strong buy. This is on the minute chart, 1 minute chart. Francisco says, mo money, mo money, mo money. Back at it. Tri-City Apes hanging, holding, learning, living. Let's go. Granddaddy Funk says, hey, Andrew, random jokes aside, I hope your new job is going well. I'm curious, though. I understand you want to keep it private. Good luck and congratulations and thank you. Granddaddy Funk, I appreciate that. What can you do with such a supportive community? I'm still in data science. I'm still in Silicon Valley tech, so that helps narrow it down. There you go. There you go. When does the FINRA short interest report come out? Do we have new Ortex data from that? When is the last exchange report SI? The last one is from July 12th, so not yet. But what do we do have? You want to go out? What we do have is a short interest right around that 15% mark. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay. Oh, yeah. 15.31% for AMC today. Small changes. Sub 1% changes or barely changes at all. Let's see. Let's go, Apes, says Pablo. Apes today. Today is our day. Help out. Paul Hawaiian says, thanks, Andrew. You're one of the best for a livestock review. Heck yeah. Amy says, my 3-year-old loves your show and rockets. He has a custodian account. Oh, yeah, 3-year-old custodian account. Thinks it's fun to be the boss baby with 1 million shares of PDGO. What will happen with the new rules? Love when he says, I eat the dip. Oh, brother. Amy, little baby Gilbert eating the dip. That's wholesome. That's wholesome. I'm putting you right on screen. That's wholesome. Love that. Thank you, Amy. That's a fun little tidbit. The Moon Platoon family, starting young. I wish I had a 3-year-old custodian account. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how much time value of money you would have now if your parents gave you that opportunity very early on? What are your thoughts about Gary Gensler's tweet yesterday? Okay, let's take a look at that tweet. Take out the Ortex. Twitter.com. Gary Gensler. So T Silver says it's linked to a statement from May. Seems like he said a lot more than most seem to think he said. Oh, he was on July 26th. I'm new here on Twitter. This can't be the tweet you're talking about. I'm new here on Twitter. A little bit about me. I'm a dad of 3, avid runner and hiker, and the 33rd chair of the SEC Gov. If you have any interest in investor protection or in fair, orderly, and efficient markets, then shoot me a follow. Oh my goodness, he's asking for a follow. Heck yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Well, if he can ask for a follow, I can as well. So this is the chance for you guys to follow me on Andrew Mo Money on Twitter. Just Hodl says, not sure how much longer I can get to the moon and back to you soon. 2 million people that I. That's right. That's right. I think this is Jay. What's up? Okay, let's find the actual tweet that he's talking about. Recently, the Chinese government provided new guidance to and placed restrictions on China-based companies raising capital offshore. Whoops, sorry guys. Including through associated offshore shell companies. Okay, offshore shell companies. So that might be more China-specific. Hold on. T-Selfer might be able to explain exactly which tweet we're talking about here. Let me Wink says, I tried to buy TVIXF today, and E-Trade gave me an error message saying the security can't be purchased. I called them and said it was too risky. Webull said the same thing. Thoughts? TVIXF. Hold on. TVIXF. Too risky. What does it look like the past few days? Oh, they don't want you to catch a falling knife. Wow, look at that. Whoa, look at that gap down. Holy moly. Oh, man. That makes sense, though. 44.90. It lost about 90% of its value in the last few days. Yep. Could be very similar to some of the stocks that these clearing firms just don't want to take a risk on. Just Hodl says, I have to do... Just hold on, I can't understand you. Alright, Meatball, come on up. Give me your bud. Alright, let's see. That tweet 6 months ago, a stock. He says, it was from yesterday. That is newer. I hadn't seen that one yet. Okay, so let me see the one from yesterday. When new technologies come along and change the face of finance, how do we continue to achieve our core public policy goals? Check my testimony before FSC Dems. Okay, that might be it. Mark your calendars. Next week, I'll be joining Aspen Security at their 2021 virtual forum. That's fun. I was just there. Darn it, I could have gone. What does the SEC want to do with climate? Hello, I'm Gary Gensler.
What does the SEC have to do with climate?
That's Gary Gensler. That's Steve Buscemi.
The SEC talking about climate. Well, you see, one of the most important innovations in our capital markets came along during the Great Depression, when we began requiring public disclosure of important information from companies that wanted to raise money from us.
Our tax dollars, ladies and gents. Yay! No, this is good. This is pretty good. I like this production.
The basic bargain is this. Investors get to decide what risks they wish to take. Companies, though, that are raising money from us have an obligation to share information with investors on a regular basis. Now, the first disclosures, those revolved around companies' financial performance. For example, how much revenue did the company have or profits last year or last quarter? Then there was investor demand for information about who runs the company, who's the president, who's the chief financial officer, and the like. Later, investors wanted more information on how much a company's resources were dedicated to paying those executives. Today, investors increasingly want to understand the climate risk of the companies whose stock they own or might buy. And a lot of companies are already providing such information about climate risk. But investors representing literally tens of trillions of dollars are looking for more consistent and comparable information so they can make informed decisions about where to put their money, and that money is often the money they're investing for us. So why am I talking about climate risk? Simple, because investors are. They want to know how climate-related risk will affect the companies they own. That could mean the physical risk associated with climate change, or it might be the steps those companies are taking to lower risk associated with regulation or commitments to lower emissions. This will be good for our economy. It helps companies raise money. It will promote economic activity. And yes, it helps investors put their money in companies that fit their needs.
So Gary Gensler got a Twitter Monday. But who's Gary Gensler? All right, so the SEC chair is on social media now. It's a fun time for everyone. Don't think we got to the right tweet yet. Okay, climate disclosure. This is already from the day before, so I think we already passed it. I think it's this one. Yeah, his testimony before the FSC Dems. It's a great read. Let's see. I hadn't given that statement he linked to. He gave a read it last night. It covers a lot of topics that apes have been talking about for the last 6 months. That's good, honestly. I think I missed a super from Just Hold. My bad. I'm not a financial advisor, but I have two LOL mil from 20 though. And oh, Andy, why is not? Okay. Just really briefly look at the options chain too. Gotta look at that options chain. Okay. $40 calls normally have the floor. Today they're being battleground pitted against one-on-one basically with the puts. With kaput. Okay, so where is that FSC Dems? Testimony before the House Committee on Financial Services. Good afternoon. This is from May. Wait, I was here. I live streamed this testimony. T Selfer, were you here when I did that? I live streamed this testimony. I remember when he was here. This was a good time. It wasn't a productive time, but it certainly was a fun time. All right, thanks for making that math make sense, guys. Okay. Hold on. Where is going on here? Oh, I have no idea. Is Tom Nash, and who's Jeffrey? Is that financial education? I'm really starting to learn people on the first name basis. You gotta tell me they're you gotta be a little bit give me a little more context. All right, here is Gary Gensler's May 6, 2021 testimony. Okay, please GME Ortex from Korea. I changed my name. What's up, 800-pound ape? Okay, so we have Ortex data. Ortex. This is GameStop Ortex data. Whoa, what? Huh? Did short interest report change? No, it's still 454. So why does it now say, wait, hold on. Short interest just jumped big time for GME. Shorts are rising. Is rising. Surging short. So this is a huge increase in the number of shorts on GME side. 14.59% increase. I don't think I've seen something like this at all. Can't remember. What's up, BTS Sandwich? He's over says, I don't recall it being as encompassing as it is. Anyway, I appreciate you taking a look. I've forgotten that you covered it. Oh, all good. All good, all good. Yeah, Ortex. Jeez. Happy Friday, Scotty Boom. What's up? Wall Street Cat says, Andrew's still not here? Hello? No, I've been here. Maybe you have to refresh your browser, maybe. Hold on. Robert Lubin says, at this point, these people can get away with everything. They need to be stopped. This is crazy. There's a high chance, says Matthew, of Hedgie's doing a fake squeeze where the price will shoot up and will drive it back down before the actual squeeze happens. A tactic to make people sell. Why don't I show GME Ortex? Juggermonk, this is GME Ortex directly on screen. I've been showing it for the last about 5-ish minutes. So there you go. Must be a mistake. GME would be way up if true. No, because if short interest increases, that's the opposite. If short interest increases, they're shorting the stock more. This number gets higher and the stock becomes more vulnerable, but then becomes more likely that a short squeeze does happen. Ivy Creek says, the heart of science, question what you see. Surging shorts plus, what is this, 15%? What? Duck rate incoming. What's going on, ladies and gents? What's up? Andrew G says, Mo Money is back. No Revolution says, Mo Money, please. 007 says, under Sun, they can't count shares that can't vote. All shares that can vote were sold by June 2nd. Any shares sold have no voting rights. What's up, duckies? So we got this uptrend. Let's actually draw it right here. Luckily, we can do it with y'all because we have the easiest, most calming uptrends this side of the stonkverse. One of the first things that you'll be able to see is that the bottom of this trend starts at the very beginning of market. There was no crash this morning, not even a flash crash, not even a candlestick. A wick that would have been able to come back down to confirm 37.21. That did not happen, so we are contesting that 38.88 twice. That's that 38.80 level of resistance. After that, we saw a high of 39.04, which was just broken by 39.05 and then by 39.18. Now on this ascending level of support, we also have an ascending level of resistance. This has been a 7 to 9 part impulse wave ever since catching a break on the tip of this uptrend. Tres Nueve says, is there a guesstimation to what price this may reach, Tres? That's a really good question. And the answer to that is price predictions hurt the movement. And that's why we're trying our best to make sure that information is out there. So when you guys come in, leave your likes at the door. Thanks so much. Make sure that you do smash it and comment out which one you were. Ryan Rains, what's up? Number letters says, can we pull the squeeze off even when the same number of apes as we do now, as long as we don't dilute? Remember, dilution may be a scary prospect, but twice now we have reaped the benefits of dilution. That June gamma squeeze was entirely because the at the market offering that dilution finished. And once we finished, smooth sailing. So it's kind of like a doctor's visit. Nobody wants to go to the doctor, but if you can emerge unscathed, you'll be pretty golden. Golden boy here. Look at this GME's short interest update right here. 15% change. That boosts us up over 15.88%. That's pretty huge. Look at AMC in comparison, right? We still have 15%, but not the same delta. We're looking at that delta here with curiosity, with respect, right? With a little head nod, a little shake here. Steven Weber says, price prediction, to the moon. Oh, man. Teos' incoming short ladder attack. Eric Andres, I've been MIA for a while, taking a break from the social media and stuff, enjoying family. Family. Gone from X holder to GME to XXX holder in the meantime. What a wild ride it has been. Seriously, if you take this opportunity to really consider these stocks as a opportunity to turn some serious maybe partial income, right? Or maybe side nest eggs into a investment that you will be able to keep up with inflation on, to keep up with the new money on. You need to be able to start understanding and researching the stock market. That's the whole goal of this channel, is to make sure that you guys have a good understanding of how to fail spectacularly on the stock market. Once you have a first, second, and third failure, you're going to be much more prepared to understand how much money are you willing to lose and how much are you willing to gain. Because as of right now, you're probably thinking at the margin, you're probably thinking about like 1%, 3%, 5% interest in a savings account. Even if you can get 1%, right? If you have like a BlockFi account, like with the $250 of free Bitcoin, you could get up to 8.6%. Like a savings account substitute, but it's still not anywhere in the range of the market itself. Speaking of which, I haven't done this on stream for a long time. I am going to go to BlockFi and insert a little bit more cash. You can only insert up to $5,000 each time you do this. Okay, do I remember my login? Uh-oh. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe I don't know, actually. Maybe this won't work. Eric Andres says, yes, I picked up a second job, right, driving for Uber, and 100% of that profit is going to GME. Compartmentalizing your thought process, all right? Making it clear that some of this money is for keeping me happy and healthy, and some of this money is for keeping future me happy and healthy. That is the prospect of giving back to yourself. And if you guys read any book, do I have it with me or do I... somewhere else? I think I have it on the bookshelf over there. If you guys read any book, consider Fast and Slow. Thinking Fast and Slow is one of the best books to be able to understand a little bit more about the idea of what it means for economic principles to appear in your own life. And I love prospect theory for that. I made a whole video about prospect theory when I first started YouTube, and it's one of the coolest concepts. You're always more willing to gain something that is not yours yet than you are to willing to lose that exact same thing. Even though you should have the same willingness to gain or lose that thing, but ownership of it gives you a kind of like a expectation that you should keep it, steward it, make sure that you are a good warden of your nest egg. And if you watch popular media, it's usually keeping it under your bed, in a jar, in a savings account, right? All of these are not the way. This is not the way. Not the way for me, at least. I'm not giving you financial advice. It's not the way to be able to start compounding interest, which is why over here, Amy Gilbert came on the show just a little hop, skip, and a jump ago. My 3-year-old loves your show and rockets. He has a custodial account and thinks it's fun to be boss baby with 1 million shares of PDGO. What will happen with the new rules? Love when he says, I eat the dip, oh brother. So not only is he a very funny memer already, but he's getting started with the time value of money at 3 years old. Can you imagine how much money you would have if you started earning in like the 1980s, right? When you were 3 or 19, I don't know how old some of you could be, but started earning 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? That's humongous. I started trading actively in grad school, so I had a lot to catch up on. Oh man, Brandon Eager says, when GME squeezed, I got hospitalized. I went 35K in debt from the options I had, became homeless, then Mavis pulled me off the streets in debt. AMC now pays my bills. You taught me how to save myself. Brandon Eager, thank you so much for sharing that. Oh my goodness. Putting that right in the catalogs. Thank you so much for being able to be honest with that story. Don't forget to like the stream. Moon Gain, says Joe Dude. That is a dude. I agree. So we're looking at Gary Gensler's new Twitter page. How do we know it's new? Well, he's pinned something on July 26th that says, I'm new here on Twitter. He's a dad of 3, runner and hiker. And if you have any interest in investor protection or in fair, orderly, and efficient markets, then shoot me a follow. We are going to talk about his, let's say, interesting tweet that came out yesterday. But first, let me tweet out a Meet the Apes here. So I go make a new post. This is literally what it's like to be me. I'm just like, oh my god, I gotta make sure my computer runs. But who's Gary Gensler? That screenshot I just took. Okay, Jimmy Squeezeout was hospitalized, became homeless. AMC now pays the debts. He taught me how to save myself. So, I think regular people shouldn't have to worry about one unplanned medical expense. Financial freedom is your obligation to yourself. There we go. Hopefully that's not too, like, wordy. William Jackson, welcome to the Moon Platoon. Willie J, how's it going? Me, Brandon. Hospitalized, then homeless. Meet the Apes. The movies. J Money says Jimmy didn't have a squeeze. It had a sneeze. The squeeze is yet to come. Remember, this is the gamma squeeze in January, March, and kind of June. Honestly, GME only had major gamma squeezes in January and March. Financial freedom is an obligation to yourself. Okay, so that's my tweet. Go ahead and follow me on Andrew Mo Money on Twitter. We're trying to pass some major milestones right now. You could be part of that. Let's talk about, hold on. Let's look at the China thing too. So this is 25 minutes ago. Recently, the Chinese government provided new guidance to and placed restrictions on China-based companies raising capital offshore, including through associated offshore shell companies, by statement on investor protection and the recent developments in China. There it is. So I just opened that one up. About 6 months ago, a stock went from $20 to $480 and back down to $40, all in a matter of weeks. I think these events are part of a larger story about the intersection of finance and technology. Okay, sweet. And then he links directly before that his testimony about GameStop in his GameStop hearing. But he also, it's really mostly about like financial education. So he's talking about $20 to $480. So this is about GameStop still. So here's his statement. So we're going to cover that in just a second. Look at him. He's like, I'm Gary Gensler. That's what I assume he sounds like. My name's Gary Gensler. And you're watching Gary Gensler on Disney Channel. Okay. I'm going to cover this testimony in a second. Silicon Alley says, do you think we'll hear from Adam Aaron today? Wish I knew, but I am not Adam Aaron. But there could be. That would be really interesting. I would be interested. What's I gonna do? Okay. We were looking at Robinhood's IPO yesterday. There seemed to be green on the day now. Nothing worse than a broken N key on your keyboard. Clayton Brun says, who's Gary Gensler? But in quotes, 39.18 rejected, coming down underneath that uptrend here, coming down to the VWAP. Here's some critical pivot points here. If we can jump off of the VWAP, we'll be in the clear. RSI currently around 38.82, so unlikely that we'll be buckling underneath the VWAP, but there's always a chance. And the MACD currently diverging far and away from that signal line. Let's see, where is the rest of the market at? Ethereum at 2,400, Bitcoin at 39,000, Doge at 20 cents. So it seems like crypto is a majorly risky play as of right now. Let's see. Angelina says, if you need medical advice, you know who to ask. Feel better and hope job is doing well. Oh, Angelina. That just touches my heart. Thank you. I appreciate that. Brandon says, Lou, last few videos seem upset, and for some reason, this upsets me. I don't know why. Humans, they get upset when people that they look up to or they enjoy also get upset. It makes sense. It makes sense. I can't even knock it. Okay, let's take a look at the data. Let's take a look at this. Move over, Tilray Blackberry. Could the trader slap shorts silly? Is Benzinga taking marketing advice from the YouTube community? Let's see. Elon Musk reacted to suggestion that AMC should accept Dogecoin. AMC really should accept Dogecoin. It just makes sense. Do you agree? Says Steven Steele. And then Elon says, hold on, what? Elon says, he promptly liked the tweet. So he just likes it. Oh my God, this world is so annoying. He likes the tweet. Okay. Well, you know, that works. Chris says, I don't understand synthetic shares. They're not reported as short interest, right? Supposedly. And what you're talking about now is counterfeit shorting, right? If you're talking about short interest, then you have to talk about shorting, you talk about synthetic shares, you talk about synthetic shorts, not synthetic longs. They're slightly different, but they all come back to the idea that they have to cover. And yet, oftentimes, when it comes to like an Ortex or something, they're not going to have a, that as part of the calculation of short interest, most likely. Okay, so let's see what he said in his tweet. He said stock went from 20 to 480. Here he is saying that in May. A stock went from 20 to 480 and back down to 40 all in a matter of weeks. It opened at 162 Wednesday of this week. Oh, look. 162. It's like, wow. It's like Bilbo Baggins, here and back again. Wow, okay. That's honestly pretty interesting. Geraldo says, here comes that biz ounce. Alright, here comes. Here comes the biz ounce. Let me mute myself real quick. Alright, there we go. Had to clear my throat. Agua. So it seems like this time to stream is actually pretty okay. So I might be hanging on to this time. If you guys like it, let me know. Matthew Perry's Dusty PS5 says, Adam Aaron is going to tweet out of nowhere that they raised another $1 billion by selling more shares via management compensation reallocation of shares. I'm not sure if that's already DD that you have done. That's a very positive feeling in my tummy. I'm like, oh, Adam Aaron's going to find out a way. He's going to find out a way to give us the same catalyst that we needed back in June. Aw, Twist Montana. Looks like it was pumped. It makes me sick someone would pump SAVA. They were trying to find an Alzheimer's cure and missed. Well, it's not like they just failed outright, right? They could still have they could still do something with that research. Can we remove the store that bought Gary? I'm getting nauseous. Just believe. Gary is the Blink NPC skin. I agree. What's up, Andrew? Says Mutu. Mutu? Are you the same Mutu from like the very early beginnings of my YouTube career? Can't remember. There were only one Mutu at that point. Christopher Bates says, I'm 41 and the world's just gone crazy. It's beyond recognizable to me. I hate it. See how he used S? So I'm going to use this in the British accent now. I'm 41 and the world's just gone crazy. It's beyond recognizable to me and I hate it. Gareth says, hey Andrew, what's your opinion on the upcoming bills regarding naked shorting and PFOF? As in, what is the likelihood you think it's going to be passed? I think in the current conditions, it's pretty likely. So we saw that in the congressional hearing yesterday that they were nays all over. And they were nays, and I can't remember what the proposal was, but they like knocked it all down immediately. So it seems like they've already made up their mind. I just can't remember which direction. AMC Ape Australia says 3,000 people watching, only 700 likes. What's going on? Ladies and gents, if we can get that like counter to 2,000, I'm doing a meatball trick and giveaway right here directly in front of you. Okay? 2,000 likes. That's it. Good morning, says Chairman Waters, ranking member McHenry, and members of the committee. I think the most important part is when he talks about the offending members of this story. Let's pull this up a little bit so you guys can see better. Okay, I mean that's not much better. Let's change it like this. There we go. Okay. Perfect. While entities like GameStop, Melvin Capital, Reddit, and Robinhood have garnered a significant amount of attention, the policy issues raised by this winter's volatility go beyond those companies. Instead, I think these events are part of a larger story about the intersection of finance and technology. So this is Gary Gensler continuing his conversation about whether or not he's going to do something. We know eventually, people who have never heard of him are going to think that he's like a really cool guy. But people who have heard of him from months ago are going to remember that he hasn't done anything for months. So those two people are going to start having to fight. They're going to be like, Gary Gensler, who is he? And the other people are going to be like, I know who he is, and he hasn't done much. Okay, these forces have had a symbiotic relationship since antiquity. One thing that I've come to believe is that technology can bring greater access to our capital markets. Our central question is this: when new technologies come along and change the face of finance, how do we continue to achieve our core public policy goals and ensure that markets work for everyday investors? As we work to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation, I'd like to highlight 7 factors that were at play in these volatile events. Gamification. So this is also the order that he thinks they are important. And that's really the rub here, is that he really cares about gamification and payment for order flow. He thinks about short selling 4th, and then he's thinking about social media 5th. I don't think this is saying anything. Market plumbing. Oh yeah, this is about T+2. So he thinks, so T+2, let me rank these on how I think Congress handled them in the past few hearings. And I'll use a different color for the 3 hearings here. So this is some actual tier analysis here. Paul from the Wonder Years. I really want to. Okay, I might in a second. Remind me. MACD crossover at 30 RSI causing a bounce. Yes, 30 RSI right now, which means that if we can cross over in the next 5 minutes, maybe. Is this still bullish? Hold on. Here's that crazy. Oh wow, 18% AMC short interest surging. That's humongous. Short interest is getting back up to 20% at this rate. Desperate surging shorts plus 18%. That's crazy. That doesn't happen every day. Okay. I think this is actually breaking, honestly. Breaking news. SEC chair said, what? Okay, so now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go over to the Lux Algo. Looks like even though we're right at that reversal band, and this band represents the EMA. So the top of this band is the 200-day EMA, you might have noticed. Take a look at where this band started in the very beginning of the day, right? It was at 37.70. Okay, so the top of this band is at 37, so it's about 70 cents off. But you will be able to track it similar to a exponential moving average. Gary Gensler. Okay, here we go. So this is the order that he thinks that he needs to clean up around here. I'm the sheriff around these parts. And I got a clean house. That is GME. Did I say AMC or did I say GME? This is GME's short interest. Let's see. Bring this down a little bit so I can get the whole thing in frame. There we go. That current short interest hovering right at that 16%. This is huge. I haven't seen this before. I properly have never seen this. This is an increase in short interest means that there is going to be the other shoe dropping very soon. This is a violent increase in short interest. Let's see. Sorry, should have muted. Okay, so back to the SEC statement. I'm gonna use the yellow. Yellow's hard to see. I'm gonna use black for the first congressional hearing. So this is number 1. This is number 1. I'm gonna say that the first time that the congressional hearings talked about this, they talked a lot about. No, wait, they didn't talk about settlement yet. They talked about PFOF, honestly. So I think I'm gonna say number 1 for last because I have a better understanding of where they were for number 2. This is the second congressional hearing, and then number 3. Let's do number 3 first. I think number 3 was clearly about settlement because when it came down to it, and maybe Gensler cared about gamification. But I think that that one gets, I'm gonna do stars instead. Nah, that's a bad idea. I'm gonna say that this gets like a 1, and then payment for order flow was 2, gamification was 3. So that's 1, 2, 3 for for the third congressional hearing. Now for number 2, they had settlement as the most important piece because that was, oh wait, no, that was for gamification. That was for gamification, and I want to say that they actually had market transparency as one of the other ones. But they also talked about settlement because that was Alexis Goldstein's whole thing. So I think settlement, and then they talked about So short selling third. Because the better markets guys were all about the gamification process. I think they did talk about market payment for order flow. So I think I would put like a 4 here. Okay. So now it comes down to number 1. Adam Aaron tweeted. Oh shoot. Okay, let's take a look. Adam Aaron CEO. Thanks, Grimmer. Okay. Oh yeah, this is a big long tweet. Here we go. 4 minutes ago. Thanks for all of those who voted at the shareholder meeting yesterday. Your voices, important enthusiasm appreciated. All resolutions were approved. As indicated previously, we rescinded the request to authorize more shares. Okay. So much FUD going around the internet like that our shareholder meeting was closed doors or secret, simply wrong. It was open to any shareholder and all present were invited to speak on ballot issues and ask questions. All election results have been published publicly. For those who are unable to attend the Kansas City meeting yesterday, we are excited to offer an opportunity for individual shareholders to pose questions during the upcoming quarterly earnings webcast. See our press release to be issued later today for details. Okay. Quote tweet. The silverback responds. Bullish AF. So much FUD on the internet right now. Ain't no party like a squeeze party because the squeeze party squeezes back. So this is what Adam Aaron just said. AMC CEO. Christopher Bates says, how can people live with themselves? It's just selfish. Let's see. Evelina says they have to buy the fake share. They have been faking too. So if they are shorted 18% and have 30% fake share, they have to buy the 18 and the 30. No, you're right. You're right. You right. That's correct. It's not fake. It's just naked. And that's slightly different. Fake is hard to define because it by accounting standards is real. However, it doesn't exist quite yet. So it's fake on the 4th dimension. It's not real yet. And that's the argument for naked shorting. Come on, humans are pretty logical creatures. It wouldn't make sense to sell a share you don't own unless you had a perfectly good reason for it, such as it doesn't exist yet. Morgan Joyce is it almost morphin time? Yeah. Coming down to 37.99. AMC has gone red on the day after getting rejected for the EMA. I was just about to say turn green again, but then turn red again. So right now we're playing with life death light switch right now. GME also crosses into bearish into now down 2.5%. We're at 162 with a Gary Gensler comment all the way back in May, and now we have gone down $1.50, currently holding at 160.57. Ryan says favors always lose, investors always win. Real handy manny, I don't do price predictions, but I like your gusto. I like that you're thinking about it. Sell signal on Lux. That's just what happens. Sell signal on Lux after pushing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4th level of the reversal bands here, then catching a break after bouncing off of 38.11. Now still at that range. Okay, can I get this back to where it was? There we go. Okay, so a couple of times I talked about social media, but honestly nobody was really that much into social media. Everybody was really into clearance and settlement. which I don't think is the actual solution, but they do love to talk about it. Equity market structure. Yeah, that wasn't really that much of a must talk topic. So that's why number 1, it was really about Robinhood and settlement. So it was about Robinhood. I wonder if that counts as system-wide risks instead. What does that count as? Let me zoom down to the section that he talks about equity market structure. Here it is. January's events bring new light to equity market structure. Oh, is this dark pool stuff? Oh, it is. Oh, this is about dark pools. Okay, so in that sense, I'm not sure if they've really substantially talked about it in any of the 3 congressional hearings. They might have mentioned it briefly. Why do they not give opportunity to foreign shareholders to vote? I don't know the policy, but I think you do get a chance to vote. Have a good day, guys. Oh, Jesse Layton, if you do make the crossover, or maybe you want both tools as a second and third opinion, you do want to get that Lux algorithm with the code AndrewMoMoney at checkout. It gives you 20% off. It's a pretty big deal. Hey, we're walking here. That's a pretty big deal. Okay, let's take a look at Meatball. This is your brief 60 seconds of Meatball today. Look at him. While we take a look at Gary's Twitter chops. So this is him on Twitter. And here he is as Gary Gensler.
Office hours. Hi, this is Gary Gensler, and welcome to Office Hours.
Aww.
What does the SEC have to do with climate? And why is the chair of the SEC talking about climate? Well, you see, one of the most important innovations in our capital markets came along during the Great Depression, when we began requiring public disclosure of important information from companies that wanted to raise money from us. The basic bargain is this: investors get to decide what risks they wish to take. Companies, though, that are raising money from us have an obligation to share information with investors on a regular basis. Now, the first disclosures, those revolved around companies' financial performance. For example, how much revenue did the company have or profits last year or last quarter? Then there was investor demand for information about who runs the company, who's the president, who's the chief financial officer, and the like. Later, investors wanted more information on how much a company's resources were dedicated to paying those executives. Today, investors increasingly want to understand the climate risk of the companies whose stock they own or might buy. And a lot of companies are already providing such information about climate risk, but investors representing literally tens of trillions of dollars are looking for more consistent and comparable information so they can make informed decisions about where to put their money, and that money is often the money they're investing for us. So why am I talking about climate risk? Simple, because investors are. They want to know how climate-related risk will affect the companies they own. That could mean the physical risk associated with climate change, or it might be the steps those companies are taking to lower risk associated with regulation or commitments to lower emissions. This will be good for our economy. It helps companies raise money. It will promote economic activity. And yes, it helps investors put their money in companies that fit their needs.
This is completely different than the other one that he put out, right? So if you guys are watching, Gary Gensler just got in a Twitter account, and now he's been just tweeting up a storm recently. So I do want to be able to talk about the non-climate related one. Where did that one go? The data 3. All right, let's pay attention to. Yeah, that was it. Okay, let's look briefly about this one.
Constitution obligation freely take this obligation freely without any mental reservation.
Look at him. See, he really cares. This is Professor Meatball once again. Someone was absolutely right in the chat before. They said, cool, that puppy off with some likes. The most chilling thing that he did talk about is the fact that he is looking at the same exact story, right? So the $20 to $480 and back down to $40 all in a matter of weeks. I was talking about equity market structure over here. So this is his whole testimony from the May the 3rd and final congressional hearing on GameStop. Here's how I ranked. Hold on, now I have to really get it over here. Here's how I ranked the importance of those 3 congressional hearings and what the topics they actually did talk about. So even though he talks about dark pools briefly, it's not even labeled dark pools, it's labeled equity market structure. And 2, I just don't think that many of the congressmen had a intelligent question to ask about dark pool. Now, social media was the reason why Alexis Ohanian and other, CEOs of the time had to show up. He was the CEO of Reddit, and he wanted to talk about, Reddit is a community full of mods, and mods are people who are just volunteers. So nobody's to blame on Reddit for any amount of coordination. Clearing and settlement was the reason why Robinhood eventually decided to not allow buys on GME, but allow sells because of T+2 settlement and because of the amount of money that the clearinghouses were asking in order to be able to take the risk. So very similar to what someone was asking earlier today about a different stock that was also one that lost about 90% of its value. Closer to 80%, so that makes it much closer to what AMC GME was, right around the peak of 480, and then went back down to the 40s. Okay, so as we continue learning with the show, I do appreciate you guys coming in, popping off and asking some questions if you have them. So I'm going to go through the show right now, see what kind of questions you guys got. Okay, let's take a look. That's all she wrote. Cognitive resonance, you are 100% right, says Vinman. Evelina says, what do you think about hold on a second. What do you think about what trigger a margin call, and will they ever do it? Yeah, we have seen margin calls before in the past. Can they control what is top of the price and what will be if we hold? They can try, but the market forces are always a buyer and a seller. Someone who has to decide how much they want the price of the stock to go for, and someone who wants to decide how much they're willing to pay for that stock. What can we expect? Can the share go up to 1,000%? Realistic? The share has gone up to near over 1,000%, depending on what time frame. Right? AMC stock is up 2,000% as of the year 2021. So that's not even that far out into the history of AMC. For example, let's see. Sandra says, agree or flying into space? Agree, flying into space. Okay, let me get rid of these drawings real quick. Let me pull this source away. SEC had another statement about recent developments in China. So that was the other thing he tweeted. Let me see if I can find something about yesterday's Robinhood IPO. Remember, they both opened at $38 yesterday, and only one of them is currently still over $38. Robinhood currently trading at $34.73. It was down 10% roughly yesterday, and yeah, China's stocks fall after SEC's IPO. Blah 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 blah. The Chinese stocks are getting a beat as well. Robinhood is a speculation app. Insider CEO Blodgett. Okay, let's take a listen. Oh, Kevin O'Leary. So Mr. Wonderful has been a bull about AMC in the past.
The CEO has finally gotten the message
Let's take a listen.
That they misled customers, didn't do a good enough job in educating customers or doing the due diligence on who can invest. Look, investing money, as you know, is a very serious business.
Hold on. Let me try again.
And you have regulations for a reason. I like the fact that they're trying to democratize who gets to invest, but they have to be regulated.
And regulated more, just to put a fine point before I get to Kevin, regulated more than they are now. I mean, one of the big debates about this company is this idea of payment for order flow, which is to say that the true customer, to some degree, depending on how you think about it, the revenue isn't coming from the end user. The revenue is coming from some of the big funds like Citadel and Virtue and others that effectively pay for that flow.
Well, I think, look, they have to have conflict of interest laws, and if they are satisfying those conflicts of interest, it's fine to get revenue from other investors than the customer, and they also need to have capital requirements so that it doesn't happen that they have a run on investments. But so I would say, yes, there needs to be both conflict of interest regulation and more capital requirements.
Hey, Kevin, you know, we talked to Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, earlier this week, and there's a rift in the country right now between the idea of protecting the small investor on one side and the small investor saying, stop protecting us. We don't want to be protected. In fact, your protection is hurting us.
Yes, I'm here in Boston, Andrew, and I'm a big fan of Elizabeth Warren. I have to be. I'm in Massachusetts, but I do not take any investment advice from her. She's a politician and a good one, and she knows how to get on TV and raise money, as all politicians have to. The more outrageous you are, the more airtime you get, and I applaud her for that. No problem. But bottom line is investing, whether you're in Robinhood or any of the money center banks or any of the online services, is a speculation. I don't care what stock you buy. When you buy something that has volatility to its price, you are speculating. And whether you're 18 or whether you're 80, you're going to play the markets for what they've given you for the last 100 plus years, a 7 to 8% return in aggregate. Now, if Robinhood can democratize investing, I think that's a good thing. I'm a fan, I'm a shareholder, and I'm a big fan of Vlad's. And a lot of people don't understand the platform. You know, one thing you can't do on Robinhood is short stocks. I mean, he is trying to protect investors and learn and teach them how to invest. The bottom line here, I see nothing wrong. And by the way, in terms of fining, you know, FINRA regulations and SEC and regulators, every single money center bank has been fined in past years. Sometimes they break the rules, and that's why we have regulations, and I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, 20 million accounts say it all. Robinhood is here to stay.
Okay.
Congressman, what do you make of the idea that there is a...
Wait, which congressman is this? It is Ro Khanna. I'm like, that looks like Ro Khanna.
A substantial number of smaller investors that increasingly are saying, take the shackles off. We actually want less regulation. We want to have more opportunity to invest in private placements and all sorts of investments that historically Washington and regulators have said, you know what? We don't want to allow that because we're afraid that there is going to be chicanery, that effectively these smaller investors are going to be taken advantage of.
I think what the smaller investors are saying is that they want the same opportunity that the big guys have. They want the same opportunity that the hedge funds have and other institutional investors. And that's why there was outrage when Robinhood shut down small investors and allowed still big investors to invest. And there was not a sense of parity. So there has to be parity. And I agree that it's good that small investors have the chance to be in the market. But I think Kevin would agree that there should be transparency. There should be disclosure. There shouldn't be misleading schemes about giving certain investors priority or saying that they're going to charge something and then not having those services. And there shouldn't be conflicts of interest. So investors should know, are you getting money from an institutional entity that is making you privilege a certain stock?
There you go.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching.
Shep it up. Shep up, please. All right, so we have Robinhood down about what percent point? AMC is still up at 38.32. Remember, both of these stocks opened at $38 yesterday. So it really ends up being a 24-hour make it or break it. And it seems like one of these two isn't entirely broken, but it's definitely not entirely fixed. So let's see. Let's see now. The Juice's Ghost says, yeah, give me those opportunities to hold longs and sell shorts at the same time, lol. Sean Connery. Joel says, any thoughts about the upcoming AMC earnings report and how it might contribute to more bear trends? Yep, earnings reports, whether you're Apple, whether you're Google or Amazon, it's always going to be a likely bear event. But there is more to it than just boiling it down and saying all of these IPOs are basically the same, or all of these earnings calls are basically the same. Right? There's going to be some nuance that we can look into. Let's look at how Goldman Sachs have handled the Robinhood IPO. There's so much to uncover about the Robinhood IPO and why it performed so poorly.
Leslie, don't go anywhere. I want you to be part of this conversation as well, because we want to bring in Kate Kelly as well from the New York Times. She's been covering Goldman Sachs for a very, very long time. Of course, they were the lead underwriter of what has now turned out to be a bit of a flop, at least on day one. Kate, what do you think happened and what went wrong?
Well, I think Leslie hit on some key points here. We had an unusual type of debut with a larger than usual retail mix and some key components that allowed people to flip their shares earlier than typical. So, for example, employees of Robinhood were allowed to sell their shares day one if they wanted to, rather than having the traditional 6-month lockup. Then you had this small investor component, which I believe ended up being 20 to 25% of the stock, even though they had set aside 35%, by the way. So that in itself, the fact that the 35% wasn't used could be regarded, pending a few more details, as a little bit of a bearish signal from the get-go. But you may have had a good deal of flipping activity in addition to your kind of standard hedge fund flipping activity. Of course, the goal with most IPOs is to find those long-only holders, those sticky holders who are going to provide you this strong investor base and see you through at least your initial growth cycle, not sell the shares on day one. But obviously, there was a lot of activity there yesterday. I checked to see what the short interest was, but it sounds like we may not be able to get those details for a little while yet. But clearly, there were a lot of bearish signals. So I think the technical process played a role. But I also think there are clearly fundamental questions about Robinhood as a business model and whether the growth they saw during that first quarter, even as they faced a lot of headwinds with the GameStop and meme stock frenzy, can last. And the Heard on the Street and the Wall Street Journal did a good job of this today, kind of talking about some of the issues. But I think there are real questions. Are they going public at the top, or are they well on their way to a strong and fast growth trajectory, and it's just a hiccup along the way?
Leslie, weigh in on this piece of it, though, which is that when you hire a bank like a Goldman Sachs to underwrite an offering, they're supposed to advise you on price. Now, in this case,
Kazori says, thank you for everything you do for the ape community. Keep it up, Andrew.
Given that this is a business that actually wants and needs cash, but was there any debate, do we know, internally about the price? Was Robinhood the one pushing on the $38? Was there ever a conversation about bringing the price even lower and what that might do?
I did ask sources about this, and of course, people who were in the room all were a little bit cagey about those discussions, saying that, it was a mutually agreed upon price. Everybody was happy with that $38 a share. What's kind of interesting about this deal as opposed to others is that usually the lead left bank that's in charge of allocating the shares is also the stabilization agent. Stabilization agent is what we were kind of talking about earlier, as someone who could come in, help prop up the stock if it does seem to be losing its footing on day one. In this particular case, those two roles were divided. Goldman Sachs was lead left. They were in charge of allocation of more shares. JP Morgan, on the other hand, they were stabilization agents. So you had kind of two banks doing the job that typically involves one. Not sure that made a huge difference, but interesting just as we kind of talking about the differences of this IPO process nonetheless. Another thing that, in talking to investors yesterday, usually we start to hear throughout the course of, the week leading up to a big IPO like this, we'll hear about, so-called it's oversubscribed by X amount of times. Those numbers don't always mean anything because they're just based on unbinding indications of interest, but it's still an interesting data point. It's something that people tend to talk about. With this one, we just kept hearing it was covered at the IPO range. That too is not the best signal to send investors because they're kind of waiting for those oversubscription numbers. As fluffy as they may be, they do provide some comfort to people.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching.
I always gotta say Shep right when Shep shows up. Thank you, Shep. Meatball, here's a treat. So Robinhood IPO seems like even the lead underwriter is feeling like, there could have been some better things that might have happened yesterday for a good IPO. Young Robinhood, hold on a second, 17 hours ago, why some of Reddit's meme stock traders are refused to buy Robinhood stock. Oh, yep, that makes sense. That's this community. That's very similar to communities that have been betrayed in January. And you think our attention span is 6 months long? No, it's much longer. It's at least 7 months. So you have chosen the wrong time to IPO Robinhood. Go away.
Robinhood goes public, but some meme stock fans aren't too happy about it. Plus, Amazon just shared how it performed in the second quarter. We walk you through its earnings. And finally, Austin Nicola founder Trevor Milton is charged with fraud. I'm Pippa Stevens, and this is CNBC After Hours. Their earnings disappointed some investors. And speaking of earnings, another big tech name just came in. That's Amazon. We'll have those details later in the show. But what we really want to talk to you about first is Robinhood. You can now buy Robinhood stock on Robinhood's app after the company went public today.
Yeah.
Now, the stock did end its first trading day lower, but some Reddit investors might actually be happy about it. CNBC's Kate Rooney explored why some refused to buy the stock and are even betting against its success.
Robinhood has been a polarizing startup. There are certainly fans, and it's introduced a new generation of investors to the stock market, but Robinhood is also facing pushback from some online looking to boycott the IPO. Robinhood is reserving about 20% of its shares for retail investors on that platform. They had originally said it would be up to 35%, and a faction of them are taking to Reddit and Twitter, urging each other not to buy into Robinhood's IPO today. Others are pledging to borrow money and short it. A lot of these comments are stemming from grudges around GameStop and trading restrictions back in January. Other Reddit traders are telling each other to just ignore it altogether and not bother spending the money to short it. According to a recent survey from Cardify, Robinhood users are pretty mixed on whether they would buy shares in the IPO. More than a third say that they will buy, 30% say nope, they're not buying, and a third are still unsure. And it's unclear if this chatter on social media is just a very vocal minority or if it will translate to any real action. But if the IPO turns out to be another viral event, it could be good for Robinhood's growth. We saw similar pushback on social media earlier this year around GameStop with some of that same negative sentiment on Twitter and Reddit. During that time, traders who were on the app logged on for more than an hour per week on average. It was the #1 app in the Apple App Store, and during that time, it saw record growth. That user engagement has been a huge lure for venture capital investors as well. That engagement, though, has dropped significantly in recent months. It is a risk investors are very focused on going forward. Robinhood's pandemic-era growth has relied on viral events like GameStop and even Dogecoin rallies.
Okay, time for today's numbers round. We'll start with $2 billion. Amazon just reported earnings, and unlike the other big tech names we covered on the show, it missed revenue expectations by $2 billion to be exact. Amazon also changed its outlook for next quarter, telling investors that it could bring in less revenue than originally planned. Now, it wasn't all bad news for the company, though. Its cloud computing business did perform better than expected. You can read all about Amazon's quarter by going to CNBC.com. Next up, 50. On the subject of big tech, many of them are shaking up their return to office strategies. Twitter is suspending its 50% office capacity guideline and closing its New York and San Francisco offices in response to rising COVID cases.
Interesting.
Facebook, it's requiring employees to get vaccinated if they want to return to work. Google is also mandating the shot. And finally, 3.
I see where all the information came from.
News out of
Whoopsie.
Milton, the founder of Nikola, was indicted by a grand jury today on 3 counts of fraud. Prosecutors allege he lied to investors to keep the company's stock price high, and in doing so, cost some amateur traders hundreds of thousands of dollars. Milton's attorneys responded to the indictment, saying he had been, quote, wrongly accused. Last year, Milton left the company after short seller Hindenburg Research called out the business for deceiving investors. You can read all about the indictment by going to CNBC.com and downloading the CNBC app. That's it for After Hours. We'll be back here every Tuesday and Thursday, so be sure to catch us then.
That's cool. All right, so that's that. Let's see. Interesting. Where's Rich Greenfield and his hood with his hood to a penny predictions? Come on, Rich, please. Oh man. Amazon on the 5-day, says Ben. Hold on, where's Amazon? That is wrong. My N key doesn't work. Okay, Amazon is down how much? Webull won't even show me how much. Amazon is down-ish. Oh, look at this cute little wedge being formed here. Oh, what the? Okay, so a rally from 3,400 up to 37, then a huge gap down after earnings. The 3,500 into 3,300. Yeah, might be a tasty time. When was the last time we were at this price point? All the way back in June. Look at how much money you could make just based off of trying to play earnings. And that's when options might be an interesting play. We really do want to be able to understand it from a clearer point of view. Dua Yang says, we need some boom boom candles for sure. For sure. Can I get just one? Can I just get one? One boom boom candle from all of y'all. Young Robinhood users are getting used to disappointment. What are they getting used to? Oh. Let's see. I think this is the pad that I've been emailing. Label started for some secret project. Ooh, okay. I'm a little booked, but I probably will have some time tomorrow. Stretch it tomorrow morning, maybe. Romana says, if you're losing faith, give yourself a slap to snap out of it. Here it comes. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, shoot. All right. That's one for me. That's one for me. Boom boom candles. Come on, Darren. That says bot 2K more. Only way we can force this. I'm feeling better. The more hydrated and caffeinated I get, the better I feel. Is it weird that Clove is mirroring AMC? We've seen this in the past. Clove has been a persistent distraction. Does this look like AMC? Not really. An uptrend that is starting to consolidate during the day, that's pretty standard, honestly. That's a lot of damage. The slap didn't work, says Joe. Sometimes one slap is not enough. Sometimes one slap is not enough. Okay, let's see whether or not we can push past this simple moving average as we pull up another. Robinhood users are getting used to disappointment? Getting used to investing, okay, which is like, getting used to what?
Frequent traders. Dr. J, I'm looking at you. I feel like you have something to say.
Yeah, I completely disagree with almost everything Josh just said.
Good.
I disagree because, number one, virtually every broker on the street takes payment for order flow. If it hurts Robinhood, if they take it away, it hurts every broker on the street.
I just said that.
I just said that. Yep. I disagree. Can I speak, please? I also said that I don't like the way that you're categorizing them as gamblers. I think perhaps you were a gambler, Josh, when you were in your 20s, but I don't think these folks are gambling. I think they are getting used to investing in stocks, options, futures, cryptocurrencies. I think that's a good thing. I don't want to demean those people and say you're just like a gambler that goes to a horse track. That is demeaning. Yes, it is demeaning.
It's not
because
demeaning.
this
There's
is real money.
I love, what does this guy look like? He reminds me of someone. I'm gonna say this man is Ra's al Ghul. I'm gonna say Liam Neeson in 2004, I wanna say, is when that came out. Alright, I'm gonna do some quick TA for Apple real quick, just so I can remind myself that sometimes some plays are fundamental. Let's see. Bring it down to these two levels of resistance. Now, Apple actually has made it all the way up to 145 before. So that was like 4 or 5 tops. I think this is going to be exactly where it gets rejected. Yeah, rejected here. And then 50 on the very top. That makes sense. Okay. So TA'd Apple completion. Let's go back and listen to the shouting man here. Vin Diesel.
Look, there is nothing wrong with it.
Ming the Merciless.
We can go point counterpoint. I'm fine with that. That's what the backbone of this program is. But we can't go talk over because then nobody gets anything out of anything. John, finish your thought, please. Well, then Josh, you can rebut whatever you want to.
Right. I think that Robinhood, the reason I'm not as anxious to be on this one, Scott, is I disagree with Josh that this has become a great place for people to trade actively. It is not. I mean, there are far many other platforms out there, including interactive brokers, platforms I have no involvement in whatsoever, but those platforms that are much better for a frequent trader.
I guess 2004, it was actually 2005, but I'm very close.
Let them trade, only let them buy back in February and March, Scott. Does that sound like a place that's trying to attract really active traders? I'd say no.
No, it sounds like a place, it does sound like a place that, has some growing pains. And that's been one of the issues that their investors are going to have to deal with. Steve Weiss, you want in?
They had no choice.
I agree.
They had a net capital issue. They had no choice but to shut trading down.
No, we know that. We know that. But that speaks in and of itself to some of the growing pains that the company.
So I think Liam Neeson actually looks like the opposite of this guy's hair. Like he has one white in the middle. Liam Neeson has like 2 whites on the side.
Has had to go through over the last many months.
Oh, there's no Shep this time. Okay. Yes on the Jafar. Okay, yes. Jafar. We never got to see Jafar without a hat on. I don't see anything Robinhood about. Sorry, I don't see anything magical about Robinhood.
Jim Cramer.
Is this with Jim? I don't think we're ready for this, Jim. Walter White, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hold on. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's a little bit Small to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what? I'm starting to see it. Let's take a look at what Jimmy Boy, Mr. Chillman says about the Robinhood.
As we watch the stock trade below 37, I'm wondering too about the backlash that may exist against this company as you hear, some of the hate, vitriol, whatever you want to call it, from our investment committee members, whether it's Steve Weiss or Josh Brown, who are hating on Robinhood today on what is a momentous occasion
emotional
for the company.
I'm not hating on it at all.
You just dogged the company totally out, Steve. I want to hear from Kramer.
I did, but it's factual, Scott. This is not emotional. This is factual. I'm giving you the facts.
Oh, look, he's still here. He's looking confused. I think this is my new favorite CNBC talking head. Sorry, Jim.
Everything I said was a fact.
Although Jim's faces are pretty funny too.
No,
not emotion.
They're not you called them not. You said they're not a disruptor.
They're not a disruptor.
Come on.
They're not a disruptor.
I'm gonna say that Jim is like strung out, possibly not sober version of this guy.
Where are they disrupting? What
Kramer,
did they disrupt?
I met them 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I was out doing my tours out west, and they had about 500,000 clients. And Vlad Tenev came on Mad Money. He goes, look, I'm going to have millions of clients. This is really simple. I'm going to disrupt the industry. People are going to want to get involved. What do you see? One day I might have 12 million people. And that's going to upend everything. And I was like, listen, what is he talking about? He's long-haired guy, Stanford. I'm sick of Stanford. Stanford this, Stanford that.
They're not his clients.
They're
not his clients. The 22 million users are the product. They're not his clients.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. I don't mean it. You're absolutely right. It's the app. But I just meant that, like, in terms of he had a vision, and you got to hand it to him. I mean, I thought he was crazy that the app could be that good. But it is, Josh, it's a simplified app, and maybe everybody else developed it. I always thought the PayPal could kill it. I thought PayPal could kill it.
Jim, have you traded on the app? Jim, have you traded on the app?
Okay, let's guess. What do you think Jim Cramer is gonna say to have you traded on Robinhood? Okay, let me give him actually some eyebrows. There we go. Now he has eyebrows. All right, and then we give him briefly Super Saiyan hair. All right, now go ahead, Jim. What were you gonna say?
My stepson does.
My stepson does. If you guys guessed my stepson does, please come and claim your prize right now.
I can't see what he does because of my relationship.
I've traded on it.
Well, I mean,
Jim, I've traded on the app.
No, I'm not saying I'm not allowed to trade. So it's not like I can trade. I mean, I'm not avoiding it. I can't trade. I don't have a program.
I mean, I'll tell you my experience with it, okay?
Yeah.
I went to buy Bitcoin on there because no commissions for buying Bitcoin. PayPal, it's like 5%, all the others the same. I wired money, okay? I wired money, call it Wednesday.
Call it Wednesday.
Morning, the wire didn't get there allegedly till a week later. Any other institution you wire to, it's either that day if you get the early window or definitely next day. I put an order in for Bitcoin. It got executed a week. All
right. So what do you guys think? I think this guy looks like. All right. So I don't know a lot of people who look like this guy, but I'm gonna say he looks like this guy. Okay. So we're gonna keep going on this clip.
Later.
Wow. Okay,
now,
that's
it was great that it did because it bought it at a lower price.
That's terrible.
I don't see anything magical about this. It's not a better app than any other financial app out there.
Well, they're controlled.
It just came
I think that's the back office. I think we all know that they've had problems. They have to grow into that. Look, I'm not going to defend a lot of the things. I mean, there's a controversies page in the Atlantic Equities piece that is it's devastating if you read it. You would never own the stock. But Judge, I guess what I'm saying is that we may not think that the app disrupted things, but there are a lot of people in this industry who wish they had those 22 million.
For sure. What about the issue, Jim, of the payment?
Okay, I'm glad someone else agrees. Frodo Baggins says he looks like George W. I mean, we have George W. on this show so often. So really, that's what I wanted to say. I'm glad someone else said it.
We're talking about risks. The payment for order flow. Do you think it's a legitimately real risk that Gary Gensler could decide one day that this is not a good practice, and he'll do his best to curb it. And when you're a company getting 80% of your revenues from that payment for order flow, then it becomes a real issue.
Well, perhaps he should, perhaps he shouldn't. But the SEC's mandate is to just shine the light. Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant, just as Brandeis is to as long.
It's really funny to hear sunlight is the greatest disinfectant from Jim Cramer. As he says, why does he make these faces as soon as he says sunlight is the best disinfectant? Dear
as long as there's disclosure, the SEC has typically been happy with
irony.
these practices. And I think that he may demand more disclosure or more thorough disclosure. But I don't know if Gary's going to make. Gary's a really smart guy, and I think that we all want best price. But I also think that if he has a piece that says he may or may not have best price, that is not getting the best price if he bought Robinhood at 38. Just imagine it.
Does he think that nobody? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe when he's not mic'd, nobody can understand him. Does that make sense? When his wife tries to hear him, he's like, like, what did you say? Anyway, if this video made you laugh, if this made your day, I know it made my day just hanging out with you guys. Hey, I would really appreciate you guys staying for a little bit, right? Make sure that subscribe button is thoroughly smashed and the bell, as well as that like. All right, 2,500. We're going to have some prizes, some tricks. We're going to have some fun for you guys.
But I do think that...
I don't think the risk here is losing payment for order flow. I think the risk here is that the markets aren't as exciting going forward and usage drops off. Payment for order flow has been around for 200 years.
Right.
We just called it different names. But there's always been some element of market makers. But the Weiss makes the best point here. Weiss is saying this is not really a disruptor, and I think that's true because if you think about what were brokerage commissions 2 years ago, you could trade on Schwab, Fidelity.
You could trade on Schwab, Fidelity for like $2.50. You know, you go down to the A train, hop off on the 7th Street, and then you're bada bing, bada boom. You're all the way downtown. I don't know anything about New York.
Really, any platform, E-Trade for $4.95. So the idea that going to zero is some innovative thing, it reminds me of something about Mary, where the guy says, "You ever heard of 8-minute abs? Here's my business idea: 7-minute abs." It's not. It's just an evolution. Chuck Schwab wrote a book in 1990 predicting $0 commissions. He didn't know it would eventually be subsidized by hedge funds making markets, but he knew it was coming. So I don't see it as a disruptor either. I agree with Stephen on that point.
Doctor.
I like how AV says, Kramer sounds like Squid from SpongeBob. All of you remember Squid, right? I love squid and starfish and crab. My favorite. Oh, man. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Freaking Andrew, says Oscar Perez. I agree. Okay, let's take a look at AMC coming down to the 37.66. Doesn't mean that we'll be down there for long. In my opinion, we have crossed under 30 again on the RSI. We have a potential tapering off of that MACD coming right around to cross over that signal line. And to kick it all off, we have the double bottom forming on GME. That George W. So when we had that young George W. on screen just now, there he is. The only thing to think about next is where are those tendies flowing? Because if it is directly into the mouth of the waiting apes, that is what it's looking like. We're getting bullish signals all across the board on AMC and,
Jay,
and GME, of course.
Is this?
Why did they clip it there? Is this? Okay, Insider CEO Blodgett has one more thought to say about Robinhood, and then we're good.
Now to talk about Robinhood's IPO stacks up against some of the most highly anticipated debuts in the recent past as Henry Blodgett, Insider Inc. co-founder and CEO. Henry, I think about value and inherent value, and we talk about it all the time. And if something was $12 billion a year ago, and it's a great company, great ideas, democratizing stock trading, it's still a great company. But the difference between 12 and 32 billion in the space of a year, if people take a close look at risks and regulatory issues and business models, maybe not that surprising that this happened. Did they reinvent the wheel? Do they have a moat?
Well, their growth over the past year has been spectacular. So I think that's probably what everybody was focused on. But it is 100% leverage to speculation. And we had enormous speculation in crypto in the first quarter. That's cooled off a little bit. Speculation in general seems to be cooling off a little bit. So it's not surprising. And you have a big lesson on IPO.
All right. Think about who he makes you remind you of. Who does he remind you of when you look at him? And then Andrew will have his thoughts in a second.
Knows that unfortunately people are forced to learn again and again is you can't just say, yes, give it to me. You actually have to say, what do I think it's worth? Where am I comfortable actually buying in before it starts trading? And unfortunately, investors do get lured into this where they feel like it's free money, just put in the order. And certainly everybody got creamed yesterday here.
Dude, the wild card of giving such a large, we should have known. And again, I stopped one sentence because I had another thought, but we should have known letting people actually in, normal people, instead of the institutional guys and the hedgies and everybody else, letting normal people in. You'd never let them in on a really good IPO. It just wouldn't happen. We should have known. You can't let 25% of normal people in and have them make money on a hot IPO. It just doesn't happen. They keep the money.
But it's a nice idea that it should be equal access to everything. But again, institutions don't just say, yes, we're in, regardless of the price. And I think the risk is with a lot of investors who aren't buying IPOs every day and aren't negotiating with trading desks is that you just think that there's always a pop, so it's free money, so I'll press buy. And obviously, again, that didn't happen here. And I think that Robinhood's whole story, the democratization of finance, really what the app is, and that's a very noble aim. But this is
I want you guys to consider that he was being sarcastic, but the sarcasm inside was pretty heavy, was like a little bit too on the nose. Normal people shouldn't be able to make money off of actually going to perform IPO. Then they're gonna keep it. I think right before, what did you guys decide him? What does he look like? Right before he started to speak, this was something that the newscaster could have gotten and leaned in a little bit more, told a little bit too much of the truth.
The wild card of giving such a large, we should have known. And again, I stopped one sentence because I had another thought, but we should have known letting people actually in, normal people, instead of the institutional guys and the hedgies and everybody else, letting normal people in. You'd never let them in on a really good IPO. It just wouldn't happen. We should have known. You can't let 25% of normal people in and have them make money on a hot IPO. It just doesn't happen. They keep the money.
But it's a nice idea that it should be equal access to everything.
Okay, so you have decided. All right, there you go. That's pretty uncanny. I like that.
But again, institutions don't just say, yes, we're in, regardless of the price. And I think the risk is with a lot of investors who aren't buying IPOs every day and aren't negotiating with trading desks is that you just think that there's always a pop, so it's free money, so I'll press buy. And obviously, again, that didn't happen here. And I think that Robinhood's whole story, the democratization of finance, really what the app is, and that's a very noble aim. But this is a speculation app, and it is terrific for that. It removes lots of friction, makes it seem very fun. When the markets are going up and most assets are going up, you feel like a hero, you get sucked in, you get addicted to it. But things do eventually change in the cycle. And what I would say for anybody who's thinking that the democratization idea is new, you go back to the 1990s, Joe, you remember this is what the whole story was. It's finally, we're making trading available to everybody and it's going to be fair and finally everybody else can cash in. And that's great when the market's going up. But when it turns, it's brutal. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to see that at some point. I don't know when it'll be, but at some point we will see that here as well.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching.
Oh, Shep. Okay, almost got. Next time you see Shep, just shout him out. Shep. Oh, man. Okay, here it is. Kenny Hernandez is once I get my attendees. Ooh, you scam market. Steve Buscemi. No, we already have Gary Gensler as Steve Buscemi. This that has to be. Life finds a way. All right, 37.79. Honestly, AMC is just having a very interesting day, just slowly meandering through the universe. Nothing but the back. Nothing but its back on its back. It's bare back. It's wearing no clothes. It's just slowly moving forward. Christopher Heyerdahl. I'm gonna get some more coffee. Who is Christopher Heyerdahl? Pay attention to the fact that if we do a strong bounce off that 37.72, I'm gonna show you Ortex. I'm gonna show you the fact that we had an insane increase in the short interest, and then I'm gonna show you a little bit more about what I think is gonna be Lux Algo's next buy signal. All right, it's coming up real quick. Here's the Ortex for GME. GameStop up 16%. And all the coffee has been drunk, which means I just have to live. Jeff Goldblum plays Andrew Money in the movie. And nothing more that I would enjoy than Jeff Goldblum. You really figured me out. Someone just emailed me asking me to sell for $1,900. We have signed a contract. Jesus, you've been here for quite a while, so I don't think this is some random stuff. Can you show me like a screenshot? Remember, guys, you can contact me, Andrew Money, on Instagram and Twitter. Give me like a couple of days. But that's a great way to contact me, or joining as a member gets you Discord access. That's a good way to contact me as well. Let's see. That's that join button or the Patreon link. AMC Lux algorithm had that strong sell halfway through the day. But now look at this. Reversal bands coming up tight. This was our first local minima. That was at the 38.14. We saw the oscillator start to push upward. Oh, hold on. There it is. So the oscillator pushes into a potential crossover right at the peak of this bull trend here. 1, 2, 3, 4 bull. It is a. How small are these impulses? Where is it? Just this one? Oh yeah, here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a very small Elliott wave. This is a 7-part Elliott wave on its way down into the reversal bands here. So we have seen the RSI dip below 30 twice now, so that price action is getting antsy. We don't cage an animal. A wild, thrashing Tasmanian devil here. Goldboom on Ape Nation. Life finds a way. Let's see. Good dip opportunity, says Anthony de Lanoy. What does CEO Adam Aaron say? Here he is. CEO Adam. Thanks to all of you who voted at the shareholder meeting yesterday. Your voice is important and your enthusiasm appreciated. All resolutions were approved. As indicated previously, we rescinded the request to authorize more shares. You were not ready for this, and we listened to you. So much FUD has gone around the internet, like that our shareholder meeting was closed doors or secret. Simply wrong. It was open to any shareholder, and all present were invited to speak on ballot issues and ask questions. All election results have been published publicly. For those who are unable to attend the Kansas City meeting yesterday, we are excited to offer an opportunity for individual shareholders to pose questions during our upcoming quarterly earnings webcast. All right, so if you weren't in Kansas City, you have an opportunity to show up to the webcast to see our press release to be issued later today for details. Honestly, if I lived in Kansas City, I would just buy 1 share of AMC just so I can show up. It's like a ticket to this this annual report. What the? Oh my gosh. Throw a magnet on the rocket, please. You know this magnet? I'm really bad at magnets. I'm really bad at it. T Sulfur wants the trick for Meatball to be standing up. Heck yeah. No, I'm into that. We need to get up to that light counter first, though. We're getting close. We're getting close. You guys are working on it. Frodo says, "I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden ticket." Is there a way to know when your share is synthetic? Does it matter when we squeeze? No and no. No and no. Alright, so we did hear about Gary Gensler opening up a Twitter account, putting up some educational videos on Twitter. It's pretty fun. I agree. I think that that's a very cute way for Gary Gensler to stay relevant. Either the Steve Buscemi does nothing but is very is very adamant about doing something one day.
Hey, let's bring in.
It's only our third job. It's only our fifth month now. Come on. All right, one more about Robinhood. I've almost missed this one. Can I make this smaller? Can I move this over? Yeah, that's fine, honestly.
The committee, I'm really curious to figure how they're seeing it today. You know, Josh Brown, if we're speaking to a professional audience mixed in with a heavy retail viewer, what do you tell them about this IPO?
I'm personally not interested in owning it, but I'm fascinated by the story and everything that they've built. I think a lot of this really started out as regulatory arbitrage. The neat trick was getting big enough, fast enough before anybody knew what was happening, and they just paid a big fine related to some of that regulatory arbitrage. So maybe they'll clean up their act. But in the end, this is not an investing business. This is online gambling. If I wanted to invest in that, I'd probably be more interested in DraftKings. I don't really see this as being vastly superior in any way to any of the other publicly traded brokerages. In fact, it's inferior in many ways. The median Robinhood customer has a $240 balance in their account. The average is about $5,000. You compare that metric with a Charles Schwab, and you would just say, I want to own Schwab. This is going to have an outrageous valuation because of how fast it's growing, and that's undeniable. You can't take that away from them. But what are they really growing? And if you take out payment for order flow, if you say, all right, 75% of this company's revenue is payment for order.
He talks like Elmer Fudd. Have you noticed? Revenue.
Flow, which is basically allowing one group of investors to take advantage of another group of investors. If that's the whole business, I'm not sure that that's the kind of thing that I want to personally invest in. I also would note that they require a lot of people trading, I can't say the word, so I'll say altcoins, but a lot of the growth in revenue over the last year has come from things like Dogecoin. So you could make the case that there's going to be more of that in the future and that the margins for crypto trading will stay high. I doubt it. The investors in Coinbase doubt it too. So I think we're probably coming off of the best year Robinhood will ever have, 2020 and early 2021.
Why?
It's hard to imagine that environment will ever be replicated.
Why do you say it's online gambling? Those were your words. I mean, isn't that...
Remember when he was the guy that was talking, and now this guy gets to talk, and then that guy talked earlier? You see how it's like a YouTube collaboration.
A slight to the 22.5 million funded accounts and the users that Robinhood has? And why do you characterize it as online gambling?
The average user is 31 years old, which means a lot of their users are in their early and mid-20s. When you're in your early and mid-20s, it's okay to gamble. That's what my generation did. I was 22 years old during the dot-com bubble. We weren't serious investors.
That's hilarious.
We were gambling too. So there's nothing wrong. There's nothing.
We weren't serious investors. We just had no understanding of how technology worked. You see, the difference is that's a false equivalence. The difference is that the gambling that the previous generation did was entirely based on speculation, whereas now it's about data. You see how that is the difference here? It's a tiny difference, but it really makes it all make sense at the end of the day. Because if you come down to like whether or not someone back then would have understood delta hedging, whether or not someone would have understood what the DTCC does in relationship to its sister arms of the branches of the DTCC, and then finally what a mortgage-backed security is and how similar tactics are being used to try and undermine not only the US government but the worldwide economy. Again, in less than 15 years, in less than the statutory limit of the limit of I forgot. But the point is, this is a false equivalence.
Inherently wrong with that. You can't tell me, though, that this platform is built for investing. There's not one aspect of the user interface that encourages long-term investing. Will they change that? Maybe, but that's not great for revenue if they do, because all of the money this company makes is based on encouraging people to do frequent, aggressive trading so that they can sell those orders to Citadel. And again, it's legal. And the other brokerage firms use payment for order flow also. And I don't have a problem with it if it subsidizes commission-free trading. But let's not pretend that this is an investing platform. This is a platform for frequent trading. And if you want to engage in that, the Robinhood app is amazing at it. It's a lot of fun.
Let's hear
but
from
that's what this is.
Was he reading? Why was his eyes off screen so much? I was interested in Amazon, so while I do a little bit of charting for that. Wow, down 6.8% today. Ooh, baby.
They talk about
Let's take a listen.
rising mobility. As Morgan said, Pinterest today talking about engagement headwinds. Should this be an obvious story, or was there a surprise built in there?
Yeah, I mean, just the near-term view with the results in the guide. I mean, you had the slight 2Q revenue and op income miss versus consensus, as you mentioned, Carl, with the e-commerce demand slowing with the rising consumer mobility, and that did overshadow the accelerating growth at AWS and the ad biz. And then I think the biggest surprise was the 3Q guide was soft. Revenue outlook missed consensus by 8% at the midpoint, and it's expected to decline sequentially. And for context, over the last 10 years, 3Q revenue has averaged 9% sequential growth. And then you had the op income guide was like $2 billion lower than consensus at the high end. And it was particularly disappointing, just given how great the high margin AWS and ad businesses are doing. So we modestly lowered our long-term margin outlook, and we raised our CapEx forecast on Amazon's historic fulfillment investments. And our price target went to 4,400 from 4,600 and staying at outperform.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the guidance. I realize this wasn't the first full quarter with Andy Jassy at the helm as CEO, but based on what we know about him and his leadership over at AWS, I mean, is there a chance that we could be seeing a conservative guide because you have a new CEO who is in place now?
I don't think so. The top line guide was lighter as I mentioned than we thought. I think they're just bumping into tougher e-commerce comps, and I didn't think either the top line guide or the op income guide were conservative, but the op income guide was surprising to me. Just given, like, I'll give you an example. In the second quarter, depending on what you assume for the margin for the advertising business, advertising plus AWS were over 90% of the op income for the company. So, and those two businesses are accelerating. So, but I don't think it was conservative. I do think we need to look at the longer term here, or the intermediate and longer term, in this historic fulfillment investment. The plan going into 2020 was to ramp fulfillment network for one day and ultimately same day delivery. Then COVID hits, and with the incredible demand surge, they ramped the expansion efforts even further.
All right, who do you guys think this guy looks like? I'll give you 30 seconds.
And so for context, we now are looking for Amazon to spend $85 billion in CapEx if you combine 2020 and 2021 CapEx spend. And that's versus spending $60 billion in CapEx spend the 10 years prior to 2020. CFO last night said the fulfillment network nearly doubled in size the last 18 months, ending one half 21 at about 500 million. So the network will expand further in the back half of the year as they prepare for the holidays, and that will lead to elevated investment spend through year end and dampen margins.
All right, before Shep shows up. All right, did you guys guess? So let's take a look at Amazon's actually pretty difficult to track, but that's what I was looking at. Hold on a sec. He's here. There. Pretty close. Amazon, let me take it off screen, only has one identifiable level of resistance that's not even playing very well with the future price action. There. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3 touch points. And if you go back beyond this point, that's another touch point here and there. So 3,380 is where there's major resistance. So if we have trouble passing over 3,400, that is going to be a question of whether or not this stock is going to face another bearish downturn, or if this is it. It's very tempting to just say that this is it. But with a stock at this price, even 1 or 2 Amazon stock is going to really change your entire portfolio's makeup. All right. Grew from Despicable Me. Thank you. At least someone else could see it. Kevin Spacey, bro. Adam Aaron. Jim Belushi. David O'Hara. Okay, so you guys have some opinions. 160 got caught 3 times. Is this 3 touch points? GME has developed a brand new level of resistance right at 160.11, right around 160.15, 11. I'm gonna say 15 actually. Bring it up to 15. Bring it up. Thank you. John, I did check the Adam Aaron tweet. In fact, it's literally part of this video title. Let me check if he tweeted again somehow. Pretty much doubt it. That's a press release, basically. Oh, it's another tweet. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's see. Many of you continue to be concerned about AMC's share count. In early June, we announced an all-inclusive share count total of 513 million legally issued shares. Precisely 0 new shares have been issued by AMC since then. As to the existence of so-called fake or synthetic shares or the naked short selling of AMC shares, we are unaware of any information validating these theories. Also, we are unable to make any comment on the considerable trading of puts, calls, derivatives. So let's ignore the fact that he doesn't want to talk about puts and calls. He is unaware of any information validating these theories. In science terms, we cannot reject the null hypothesis. There is no proof to the contrary. Okay, that is actually brand new. I don't think Adam Aaron has ever gone out and talked directly about this kind of thing. Maybe in like a... I'm trying to dig in my memory of whether or not I can remember that. CEO of AMC just dropped bombshells on naked shorts. Hashtag naked shorts. Naked shorts, yeah. Okay. This is okay right there. Boom. John Travolta. Primer says it's a new one with a reply. Check Adam Aaron tweet info about shares and fake shares. Hold on. Tweets and replies. So it's in here. Many of you concerned about 513 million. Hold on, Kramer. Can you just give me a link? Thank you. Unless this is already what I'm supposed to see. Yeah, see, all he says is that he has no proof. He does not say that there is no proof. Exactly. That's an important point. Is that scientists can only say, scientists, investigative journalists, detectives, right? Private investigators. All of these people have the scientific method to play with, right? And sometimes it's much more of an art than a science, but in this case, the science provides data, and there is no data that Adam Aaron has that brings him to make any information validating naked sharing. Let's see. Samuel says, I dump every cent I don't need for survival into AMC. James Gandolfini. Okay, I think I know where he's from. What does he actually play? So Adam Aaron needs to be able to make this clear in order to legally protect the company based on what he thinks is one of the best moves for AMC at the time. Let's see. He can't say anything about synthetics. It says wink wink, says Italian Stallion. If you guys remember Volkswagen, it's an imperfect comparison, but there is more shorts in AMC right now than there was before the Volkswagen 2008 squeeze. 15.29% on AMC. So this is calculatable non-naked shorts. So it brings us back to the fundamentals, okay? What are we even looking at when it comes to these short interest changes? Sopranos. What up, Moon Platoon says just chilling. Grimmer says nothing wrong with what he said. It's actually a great tweet. Smart. I think it is pretty smart as well. I mean, he has to tell it like it is. Otherwise, there is a large amount of responsibility that the position comes with. Tom says, look at the boom, boom, boom. That future boom, boom, boom. Let me get it now. Eric Nelson says, it's the easiest in the world. Okay. Mr. Chance is wondering about Lux Algo. If you ever need to see it and I'm not currently streaming or showing it on screen, just know that you can grab it yourself with the code AndrewMoMoney for 20% off at checkout. Okay, let's see if AMC can bring itself over $37.99. This man has 4,500 tweets. I need to get on his level. Oh, great. This is great. One of you have already replied on Twitter. If you guys want to interact with me, this is a shout out to David Yakal. If you want to interact with me and drop some fun screenshots from the show, that's a good way to be able to interact with yours truly, Andrew Momoney on Twitter. One Boxer Face 1 says, I like your haircut, buddy. Thanks for all the info you're providing. Julian says, that thumbnail do be ballin' though. Lol, sheesh. AMC, hashtag AMC equals hashtag Andrew Mo channel. Andrew Mo channel. He's saying too flat for W. Too flat for W? Can this be? I think I'm gonna do this one. Oh, nope. Here we go. There we go. Smart tweet, hashtag separate, sorry, not hashtag, separate your emotions and wait on your tendies. Maybe instead of magnets and showers, you can try a vacuum. Mega made. Surprisingly not bouncing. Surprisingly not bouncing on GME's side. This is weird. Indie Red Mama says, did I miss a Jim Cramer thing? You did. It was really funny this morning. He was Jim all over the place. He was Kramer. He was getting ready to Kramer. It's crazy. The silverback responds. Do 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 do. Okay. Brian M says that's my vacuum face. Kramer says I second the vacuum. All right, we're gonna have to just try then, right? So the vacuum of space is everywhere already. You see how the vacuums couldn't work? It's just about pressure. It creates pressure. Decrease pressure from one side to another. But if you really want a vacuum, I think it's gonna look like this, and then we'll like have a tube, and maybe like it'll suck there, and then it sucks like this. That's actually significantly better than I thought this was gonna go. So we're gonna, but this is what you guys did, okay? You guys did this. Eric says, Andrew, 2 things in life we know are true. Remember the Tiger King thing? Jeez, that was crazy. That was absolutely, that was, I couldn't stop watching. Just kidding. I watched like 2 episodes and I was like, this is really trashy. I ultimately finished it though. Dershowitz says, Dershowitzable says, Yahoo Finance just named AMC number 8 best high volume stock. High volume. Oh, I guess absolutely, not relative to itself. Hatchetback, I do stream. I've been streaming daily since February. It has been a thing. That's fantastic. You know, I really often forget about the most stupid stuff. And then I always have a thought right before that I'm like, you know, I'm probably gonna forget about this. And then I do. Where are the magnets? Now it's a vacuum, okay? Pretty good vacuum, thanks. The Frodo Baggins is my biggest fan right now. Sir HC says, Andrew, you know you finished Tiger King. That's 3 haircuts ago. Swift D6 says, this is all getting very frustrating, but I have faith. It'll be over fairly soon. Faith is good. A-Tran says, thank you for doing that, and we thank you out there. Sleepy Meatball and I thank you guys for being part of this community. Yeah, it's the Spaceballs vacuum ship. Now you get it. T-Silver says that vacuum is way better than I was expecting. Space is the biggest vacuum in the universe. Once we get out of Atma, it's over. Somebody gets it. We have to explain space thing all the time. Maybe you have to set it on blow. Make sure to switch it to suck. Okay, we have a little switch here. Currently. Excuse me. Okay, so it was set to... I'm going to set it this way, because it was originally set to B. But I'm going to set it to S. There we go. Alright. Click. I said click. I don't know what I'm drawing anymore. AMC just got to its new low of 37.45. Currently holding at about 1.7% down on the day. Still fairly okay. Still fairly strong. Is Amazon a buy, Captain? Oof. You know, Amazon is looking real mighty tasty here. I'm gonna look at the oh, that's what I was pulling up. Bunch of Lux algos. Look at Amazon on the 30-minute. $30 Alright, let's take a look. I really do need multiple tabs. Okay, there we go. Strong sell. This is now finally in the reversal bands. So 30 minutes is not really doing it. What was the miss here? Oh, it beat. It beat by 23%? Huh. Tom says, what is the manipulation? I've made a whole playlist of the different ways. Okay, so now it's getting purple. Oh, okay, so that crossover already happened on the oscillator. See, this is why it always pays off to have the oscillator here. So the crossover's already happened. There's no buy signal yet. Not in the 5-minute anyway, so let's look at the 1 minute. Aha! So Amazon's getting a strong buy signal on the 1 minute chart. Okay. Well, that's Lux for you. BitBoy's channel? Man, so many channels are just getting like the nuclear option right now. I'm gonna check. Nope, it's still up. Oh no, it has been terminated. Wow. But it still shows up in search, but then it gets terminated. That's amazing. YouTube is a fickle beast. It's a fickle beast. Okay. Okay. Just saw you guys went down. Anything I can do to help? All right. Giving the other YouTubers some support. Obvi. Thanks, Captain. Ziptic says, love the discount. Hope it stays under 50 by mid-August because I'm buying 25 grand of GME, 20 grand of AMC when my check finally arrives. Whatever price point they cover at, I'll still profit. Huge. Huge. Oh, this vacuum's working. Those of you who didn't think this vacuum worked, shame on you. And come take a look. This vacuum is sucking up that price action. Nice bounce from 37.50 and coming up over one nice long candle right now from 37.67. Regular Jason, what up? What up, Abed? How's it going? Everyone needs to believe in the Schwartz, says HC. The seahorse is working. You see that this, that's why I draw seahorses. That's specifically why. Otherwise, Oh no. How close are we to 20,000 subscribers? Are we close-ish? Andrew, it would work better if you got the vacuum from the flea market. Joji is absolutely right. Joji, I am going to watch it tonight. I was thinking about watching it yesterday, but then I played PS4 Spider-Man instead. What can I do? Stanko, 5.4 million shares available right now. Oh, shoot. Okay, so that's the last time that we saw that glitch. I borrow desk. Oh yeah, okay, so we just got, well, today's very exciting. This is AMC's available shares as of 12:45, 15 minutes ago. We just got in 5 million additional shares available to borrow for AMC. That's interesting. That's highly interesting. Ricardo said, let's get the like to 69.69. Well, let's see it. Let's do it. Let's live it. Let's be it. $160 GME brings itself to the very bottom of the day's price action. Hey Andrew, looking fresh, my man. What up? Says regular Jason. Regular Jason? That's why we like you. Alright? You're not just regular. You're a hero. You're a national treasure. It's from Adam's tweet. The Adam Aaron news. It's not because people are paper handing. This is not selling, right? This is shares being located. So that could mean a bunch of different things. It could logistically mean a whole bunch of other things. You could have been holding onto your share, and your share could have been available, unavailable, available, unavailable over and over again. I made a whole video explaining exactly what this is, but it's the process of multiple different nodes, right, rejecting the lending program. So when they get to these red dots, then they're not able to continue recursively shorting or rehypothecating their shares. So if any of these shares go to one of these red dots and they can't continue, but if they go to a dot that hasn't turned off share lending, then it would rehypothecate to the next person and to the next person, right? So let's say that this share gets returned to this person, which gets returned to this person, which gets returned to this person. Either way, these shares are then going to be part of a larger number over here. You got it. Let's ride. Grimmer says probably shares that were never used to short. Let's see. Go yes. Did you just call me a node? You are a node. You are a node inside a graph database. Open your eyes. I got so scared when I heard someone behind me. I was like, huh? Meatball? You speak? John of All says he can't come out and say there are sins. He will get sued. You say sin one time, you get sued. That's the whole... You guys understand the markets by now. We don't have to explain this. Share count was in June. If you guys still haven't caught up with it, here's what he said about those share counts. What? Where is Adam Aaron's tweet? Okay, I'll find it in a sec. Real says, this is Nathan Adams. I'm making a YouTube channel on this account. Cool. Remember, when you're creating a YouTube channel, make sure that people can say it word of mouth and then type it easily. So if your YouTube channel is like, let's say, for example, your YouTube channel is Andrew M0 Money, they're going to have to say Andrew Mo Money, but it's with a 0 for the Mo. That would be really confusing each time someone had to say it out loud. That's a good tip for YouTube channels. It should be vernacularizable. Family says, we have no evidence because he couldn't come out and say that. Exactly. There's a lot of bombshells today. It's actually kind of crazy how much insane information came out. Amazon options are over 10 grand. It's over 9,000. What? Black Zeus, Andrew, hypothetically, what would happen, and I'm not proliferating this, if every ape sold their shares in a day? Would it crash the stock market back to 1? Hold on, would it crash the stock back to 1, playing devil's advocate? If every single ape sold their stock, right, we hold 80%, which means that that is going to require that many shares worth of buyers. And when people stop, when there's not enough buyers for the 80% of apes that are trying to sell, then the stock will go down, just like the same way that the infinite squeeze goes up. When there's nobody selling, the price of the stock continues going until someone's price point is matched, right? So that is the point of the stock market. It happens in milliseconds because people keep making these decisions independent of each other all across the world. You'd have to be able to predict the behavior of 4.1 million apes. Andrew Mo, De Niro. Adele, you're asking some great questions, right? Nobody in the Moon Platoon should be making anybody else feel uncomfortable. You're asking good questions. Hopefully we answer some. Let's see Ja Rule in Vegas in May. Why do we need that? We can see him every day in this chat. He turned me into a newt, says UK7769. I've got better. All right, so Adam Aaron's tweets. That's right. I got sidetracked again. Okay, many of you be concerned about the AMC share count. For those of you who voted at the shareholder... Wait, hold on. Where's the number that he says? Here it is. For those of you who are concerned about the AMC share count, in June, we announced an all-inclusive share count total of 513 million legally issued shares. Precisely 0 new shares have been issued by AMC since then. These are all true, right? He's just saying some true facts that there are only 513 million legally issued shares. You know, I would be skeptical about this too, but there's FTDs. There's Phyllis Delivers. That data is out there. Shamachado says, the stock is giving me such a headache to the point so sick of watching the options chain get cheated and price dunked. Are you tired of getting dunked on? Hey, my name is Andrew. And you must be tired of getting dunked on. Let's see. Viva Las Vegas. Okay, someone says keep reading, even though it's already on the screen. As to the existence of so-called fake or synthetic shares or the naked short selling of AMC shares, we are unaware of any info validating these theories, all right? That is the scientific form of saying that we cannot reject the null hypothesis. The way the world is that you expect that the things that are in the world that are illegal are not happening until you have proof. That's innocence before proven guilty. So we have to assume the null hypothesis first, and then we decide whether or not we can reject or fail to reject. This, in his terms, is, according to his info, a failure to reject. The end, says Reddit number 1. The end. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks to those of you, so this is the other one. Thanks to those of you who voted at our shareholder meeting yesterday. Your voice is important and your enthusiasm appreciated. All resolutions were approved as indicated previously. We rescinded the request to authorize more shares. You were not ready for this, and we listened to you. Also, I think there's something about like a hit ratio that when a CEO proposes things and they don't happen, that is bad on their behalf. So yeah. Oh man, I'm just gonna have to stretch. Paul Nguyen says, Andrew, the rent mortgage protection ends Saturday. Do you think it'll have an impact on the market short term and long term? Thank you. Not only that, but I believe the debt ceiling is going to have some repercussions tomorrow, all of which is going to be able to be followed up this weekend. So make sure that you guys have turned on your bell icons, because you don't know when those weekend videos are going to come out, where we're going to talk about that debt ceiling and the, hold on, I'm just gonna write this down. Debt ceiling and the, I have 3 different supers right now. Hold on a second. Amir says, thank you for all your non-financial advice. I started watching you 3 months ago for AMC content, and I've learned so much about the market overall. Thank you. Amir Zing. Thank you for that. And then Sean Machado, I messaged Adam Aaron. Oh, that's right. So it's housing, eviction, debt ceiling. Okay, those are the 2 topics I want to talk about. I messaged Adam Aaron asking if there's a way for apes to register our shares through the Investor Connect to get an accurate share, a real share count, says Sean. Adele says, thank you. Of course, Adele, thank you, and welcome to the Moon Platoon. Welcome to that Moon Platoon. Dana James Jones says, I like the line, the considerable trading of puts and calls derivatives, the biggest legal wink ever. Yeah, we're not going to talk about the considerable over here. We're not going to make any comments about the considerable trading of puts and calls derivative. It's basically the same as saying we're not going to talk about, free Tibet or the war in X, Y, and Z country. But you just did. You just made a comment. We cannot comment about X, Y, and Z. Perfect legal winky wink here. Whiskey Wolf says reverse boom boom candle. Here's that reverse boom boom candle, bringing us back down to our critical level of support. 37.21 is about 18 cents away from our current price action. 37.38. That is down 1.8% on the day and hovering 5 cents above its daily low. All right, I think everyone gets the point of this vacuum. The vacuum is there in spirit. We need to see the price action a little better. Let's bring the price action down a little bit more. Apple's just all the way back up a whole $1. Apple made a whole $1's worth of progress. Can you imagine? So that might have been a potential double bottom here. This is a level of resistance. Apple's actually pretty easy to read. It's actually a great beginner stock to be able to see if you understand technical analysis. 143, 144. Excellent.
Love it. Cash it out. Tie it in a bow tie. Seldom says, don't play options, guys. I lost all my money this week that wasn't in shares. Yep. You play options, and the stock market tumbles, and then you wish you never played options. But you play options, the stock market's good. Well, depending on which way you go, right? You play options, the stock market tumbles. You had only puts. You're feeling pretty good about it. Or you sold calls. You're feeling pretty good about it too. Oh man, YouTube is just making the rounds right now. So remember, we have a backup channel, Andrew Mo Goals, if this channel ever goes down, and Twitter. So make sure that now more than ever, it's important to, as a campaign, try and get all 100,000 of you over to the Twitter account and smash that follow, because it's very, very important. Smash that follow. Do. Holy cannoli. Vacuum is definitely not working. Time to bring in the reinforcements. Meatball's bow tie. Meatball, your bow tie. It's the only way. Come on. Well, our goal was 2,000 likes today. I'll still do the meatball trick, but I wanted to give you guys a giveaway. How about this? We'll do one if you guys comment down in the description down below after this live stream is over. Let's see that meatball trick real quick. I want to say thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Hold on, let me just get in there real quick. Remember, Black Gold got his Lux Algo with 20% off. So that's something you guys can do in the description. Remember, we can still guarantee that for today and this weekend. Not sure about the next week. Meatball. All right. Go tall, buddy. Go tall. Go tall. Go tall, buddy. Go. Good boy. Nice. So, the trading tool that I was using is called Webull. It gives you 2 free stocks in the description down below. You don't have to use it as a broker if you are against payment for order flow. If you guys wanted to learn more about what Gary Gensler and Mr. Adam Aaron is saying, follow on Twitter at Andrew Mo Money. And one more thing, if you guys want to be able to get some introductory materials to financial education, well, the best way is to be able to join that Discord server. You can use in the description or the Patreon and the join button in the description down below. I appreciated you being here for today. I appreciated these hours. I'm going to start holding these hours starting next week because I think that was really good. Still gives us a 2.5 hour to 3 hour time to hang out, and we might do a whole 3 hours next week. So you guys better be prepared. I'm going to be putting up videos during the weekend. So make sure that you guys click through down below and understand that some things on the merch store are expiring at andrewmomoney.com. So make sure that you go check that out as well. So I hope you enjoyed that meatball trick. I'm going to give him the rest of this kibble. There you go, bud. And both of us are going to see you in the money. Peace. Have a good day and watch out for a video later. Ta-ta for now.